everyone, welcome back to the Fancy Cricket Coach. Today we're looking ahead to Game Week 3. First, we'll have a quick look at Game Week 2, how it went for managers, how it went for myself, and then I'll go through some of my transfer plans, the players I'm looking at, and how my team is going to shape up for Game Week 3. So, welcome to the video. Let's get cracking. So, the team of the week for Game Week 2, pretty exciting team actually. Zach Crawley, Dawid Malan, Louis Kimber, Adam Hose, David Willey, Sam Curran, Liam Patterson-White, Lewis McManus, Ben Sanderson, Hassan Ali, and Tom Helm. Some really interesting options in there. Some very low-owned players. A couple of really big players in there too, but a lot of points across the board there. A couple of that stand out to me. Zach Crawley, 2% owned. Unsurprising potentially, but good to see, or nonetheless. So that's quite a big one. If you had him, I mean, that's a hell of a selection, really. So big names in there. David Willey at 44% owned and Sam Curran at 35% owned. So some big name players in there, both doing very well. You'll see in a minute that one of the managers captained both of them as well, and they're double captainship. So it's quite a good selection too. Ben Sanderson on there, 420 points, top scorer of the week. Very interesting. Got 6 for against the Rapids, but then blanked in the other 2 games. And 12% ownership, but 2 big games so far and very little else. So a bit hit or miss so far from him. It's a bit of an interesting player. Someone maybe you're considering for your team, but if you want a bit more consistency, maybe he's not the way to go. Who knows? A couple of players with a triple game weeks this week. This game week 3 coming up too. So Dawid Malan, kind of holding up a weak Yorkshire batting lineup, looks pretty good. And Liam Patterson-White and Hassan Ali also have the triple game weeks coming up, if you like the look of those. So a fantastic team there. Moving on to an arguably better team is the manager of the week, which goes to Matt Carpenter this week with a huge 3,316 points, which is not far off what the team of the week is. So not really far off what the best you can get is. Of course, he had the double captain googly applied. And I mean, Curran and Willey double captain googly this week. It's almost perfect. You can't really ask for much more than both your captains scoring 300 points in a game week. That's pretty damn good. It puts him up 138 places into second overall. So I'm sure he's having a great time of it. And every player in his team above 100 points, 8 players above 200 points. It's absurd, really. So a hell of a time for him. I'm sure he's really enjoyed that game week. Looking ahead to game week 3, some of the transfers in and out of the teams. So who are people transferring in this week? Ben Rains, Sam Hain, David Willey, Jack Haynes, Dawid Malan. All triple game weeks apart from Willey, but he's doing really well. And they've all scored really big over the first 2 weeks as well. So as usual, not much to say on that. Actually, maybe one thing. They're all quite expensive. I think the cheapest there is Haynes at 6.7 million. Not a huge amount of good cheap options so far in this competition. The pricing has been done pretty well. I know the Cricket Draft mentioned that on their podcast yesterday, but it's been done pretty well, and the more expensive players have done well. So I'm looking at the best value option so far is probably someone like Toby Albert at 6 million and Ben Kellaway at 5.2. Not a lot of cheap options doing really well, which you kind of get a bit more in the county championship maybe. But that's just something interesting to consider. And then the transfers out: Luke Wells, Chris Green, James Vince, Sam Curran, and Liam Dawson. All with single game weeks this week, so I'm not surprised necessarily, but players like Sam Curran and James Vince being transferred out, they have triple game weeks next week. And I know, someone like Sam Curran is 8.8 million sitting on your bench. There's a lot of money to have on your bench just sitting there. But I do think if you can bench them for a week, if you have a bench option that you can just bring in for the week, I think benching them for the week looks really good, and then bringing them back in for that triple game week next week. So I don't necessarily think players like James Vince and Sam Curran have to be a sell this week. But obviously, if your team needs it, selling them absolutely fine. I think I'm actually thinking of bringing James Vince in, to be honest, which I'll get to in a bit. But I think James Vince is a great option. So selling him, an interesting option. But there we go. That's what managers are doing. So looking ahead to the fixtures. Pretty simple. Teams with the triple this week: Birmingham, Derbyshire, Durham, Glamorgan, Notts, Somerset and Yorkshire, while Hampshire, Lancashire and Surrey each have a single, as you can see here on the game week chart. As always, target the triples when you're looking to buy and target the singles when you're looking to sell or bench the players. So you want to have as many fixtures in your starting 11 as you can. There's a lot of teams with triples this week, so taking advantage of that, you've got quite a wide range of players you can choose from. So that looks pretty good. So, all of that in mind, we're now going to move on to my team, my performance from last week. We're going to start off with. So, my game week 2 points. It was pretty damn good. I'm pretty happy with it. 2,000 again, 2,176 points, 299th in the game week this week, 679th overall. It's a really good rank boost. I'm pretty happy with it. It's put me up a good few spaces. 679th is still not where I want to end, but we're only 2 game weeks in. We're not that far into the whole competition yet, so a long way to go, and that's a pretty good rank boost. So I'm happy with that. My Game2 team itself, kind of contributions all over the board, really. Willie captain was kind of so obvious, I sort of thought it might go badly, but in the end, it was all good. Donald was a bit odd, 2 bad innings, but then one really good one, and that one, it was so good. I managed to actually catch it. I was watching the game, and he was so explosive. He looked really good. Every ball was flying over the rope until he sort of spooned one up in the air. But he did look really, really good, and it's really promising that he can strike so quickly. I think there's a lot of points there potentially. So he's got another triple game week this week. I'm hoping he can do it. Scrimshaw was nice as a bit of a differential in my team, pretty low owned, did well, so happy with that. The 12th player, I played the 12th player chip last week on Smale, and it's kind of a mare, really. 111 points isn't awful, but for 3 games, I kind of wanted a little bit more. I mean, you could do a lot worse with your 12th player, I think. I could have done a lot worse than that, but Will Smale, okay, I'm happy with 111 points from one of the chips. He's also kind of a good bench option for the rest of the season. I think I might play him this week, but apart from that, I'm happy with him sitting on the bench for only uh, 5 million. So my Game Week 3 transfers. This is what I'm looking forward to. Game Week 3, how am I going to improve my team? Here we go. Matt Milnes in for Aspinwall. He's 6.4 million. He's opening the bowling. He's batting at 8, and he is a bowler in the game. And I think he looks like a really good option. He's playing for a Yorkshire side that aren't doing that well. So actually batting at 8, he might well get some batting time in there. And opening bowling, they need him to fire. He's a really good player. He's been on my radar from the start of the season, really. And now I think he's a good time to come in. As I said, Yorkshire with that triple game week. So I think Milnes looks really good. He didn't play the first game, but he's come back from injury, so I'm hoping he's just getting rested and he won't get rested anymore. I think situationally right now, Milnes could be pretty good. I'm not sure the rest of the season he maybe is the best option in the whole game, but for this triple game week, for the situation that Yorkshire are in, I think he looks pretty good. So I'm pretty happy with him. And then that leaves me with a team that overall I'm actually quite happy with. So I don't necessarily need to use the other 2 transfers, but I do have those 2 other free transfers to use. So therefore, I've tried to look ahead to the future game weeks to see what teams I should be targeting and if I can use those 2 transfers to make my team better for the next couple. In that case, looking forward, I saw Surrey and Hampshire look like the 2 teams to be targeting, as they're the only 2 teams with triple in game week 4. Therefore, I'm thinking if I can get someone like Vince into my team, he could be really good from next week. And coming off the bench, that could be a really good boost to my team. And then he could be there for the rest of the season. And Hampshire might well make playoffs and finals day 2. So I'd have him for that as well, which would be really nice. However, he's really expensive as well. So I've sort of come up with these transfers. If I bring Vince in for Rishi Patel and then benched him this week, I would also have to do Luke Wells out, which is obviously not bad. I was kind of thinking about doing that anyway. I don't particularly want to play him this week, and I'm not against selling him anyway. And then that would leave me 5.5 million in the bank to play around with. And I've landed on Fateh Singh as a cheap option that can live on my bench sort of for the rest of the season as well. And I've also landed on him because he's a bowling option. I don't need an all-rounder. I have Darcy Short on my bench for now, and I have a couple of batters there with Vince coming in and Smared as well. So I think a bowling option on the bench looks pretty good. So these would be my changes. This is what I'm kind of looking to do in game week 3. Only really the one transfer that I kind of want to make, and then Vince in for future game weeks, and then a third one just to free up some funds really. So this is what my team will then look like in game week 3, lining up with the batters. All 3, no, not quite all 3 with the triple this week, but Two with the triple this week. Hayne has had a fast start overall to the competition. Good for him. Happy days. In that middle slot, I kind of wanted to play Thomas Rue coming off my bench instead of Smale. He's batting at five for Somerset, and they look like he's done okay. He's not done okay, but he's looked okay playing. And I think that's kind of been while Banton's playing with England. He's been off with the England setup. However, now that series is over, by the time this game week starts, I think Rue could be out because Banton will be back. So therefore, I'm going to pick Smale over Rue, which is quite a nice option to have actually, because he does have a triple, so that will be really nice. He's only averaging 32 points a game, but opening batting is always good, and there's three opportunities to go big. So hopefully he does one of them at least. And then finally, Michael Pepper had a good innings against Glamorgan with a nice 60 off 30 balls. He is playing them again on Thursday night, so let's see if he can do that again. I'm going to give him one more game week to see if he can get another good start. He's not done quite as well as I thought he would have, but there's definitely potential there. Definitely potential to go big this week. So he sticks around for another one. Into the all-rounders, I've got Zabe and Willie for Northants, who only have a double, but they both have started fairly well, and especially Willie, who's been actually incredible, to be fair. And I could play Darcy Short over someone like Zabe this week, but I think Zabe is the better option at the moment, so I'm going to give him the go-ahead this week. Aldridge comes off my bench last week where he was. He has a triple, so that's a pretty nice option to have. Good planning ahead, I reckon, from me. He hasn't registered a huge score as of yet, but I don't know. He looks like a good cricketer, and hopefully this is his week to go big. Rounding out the all-rounders with Ben Kellaway, and the second part of his back-to-back triple game weeks that kind of the whole reason I brought him in the first place. 200 points from him last week, which is pretty nice. So let's go again. Let's do that again, please. Donald with the wicket-keeping gloves, a couple of low scores in there, but as I said earlier, the one knock he did play was very, very nice. So three more games from him this week. Hopefully he can up those scores. Again, if he doesn't, probably someone I'm looking to get rid of, but I think a lot of potential there, a really high ceiling. Let's see if he can do it. I have him there in the keeping slot as well because he has been playing as the wicketkeeper with the gloves in the games where Brooke Guest hasn't been playing. And so I think there's a bit more of a chance of him getting some keeping points than if I had Pepper in there, who isn't keeping at all. So Donald with the gloves, happy days. In the bowling, I've got Matt Milnes, the transfer I spoke about earlier. He's coming in. Looks like a good option. Spoke about that earlier. And then I've got Gazanfar and Scrimshaw also in there. Gazanfar is with another triple game week, so kind of no sense in moving him on. He's not done superbly so far. I'm kind of hoping for a bit more. He's kind of shown signs of being really good, but he's not quite transferred that into fantasy points, which is obviously why we're here. So that's a little bit annoying, but another triple from him this week. So he stays. And then Scrimshaw, again, mentioned him, did well last week. Happy to keep from another. He's also probably on my list of players to move on from, should he not have a great game week. But for now, all good. No reason to look past him very much. So that's how the 11 is looking. On the bench, I have Darcy Short, first bench, should someone not play all the games. And then Vince ready to come into the 11 for next week, and then a couple of other bench options in there. So overall, I'm happy with the transfers and I'm happy with the team. I think it looks pretty good, especially at this part of the competition. Potential for a lot of points. It's still early, but looks good. So finally, captaincy. And actually, it's a bit of a hard one this week, I have to say. I'm not entirely sure who I want to go with. Willie looks good, but with only a double, I kind of want to captain a triple game week player, and that leaves my options being Sam Hain as probably the safe bet, or Nurian Donald as a bit more of a left field, but high potential, or Kellaway if I wanted to go for that all-rounder slot. So I'm not really sure. I don't know. What do you guys think? I'm leaning towards Hain, I think. I think it's probably the safer bet. And at this point of the season, I do maybe want to just go with that safer bet. But maybe we'll see when that deadline hits. I might put a poll out and see what people think. It's a tough one. I'm not sure. Anyway, that is all for today. My team looks good. The game week looks exciting. Lots of fixtures, lots of cricket. Let's see how it goes. Good luck to you all. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next week.